Boom, 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 boom. Yep, it's sideways.
It's sideways.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, if you turn it sideways, you can still see it. But,
Yeah.
okay.
All right. All right.
There we
Let's
go.
ride. Let's ride.
Hi, fam. It's James and I. We're just hanging out tonight. Um, Starting a new series or show.
Actually, we popping off. We're going to start a podcast real soon. So tonight we're really just testing everything, kind of getting everything set up. Excuse me. Set up. Yeah. So the name of the podcast is
Chasing More.
Chasing More, and the thought behind it is just having conversations about various topics, not so much about church behavior or church culture. It's just everyday ideas, everything for us passion and just anything and everything. Now, obviously, our thoughts and our perspective will be biblical influenced,
Biblically influenced.
biblically influenced, obviously, because that's just our how we govern our morals, how we govern ourselves. So it will have some influence on how we view various topics, but the thought behind is just being open and engaging in various topics. Hence the title, Chasing More. So we always, as always, when we do anything like this, we always want to welcome people in, invite people in. I know Latanya has put out several questions just to kind of see where everyone energy is and what we're focused on, so we can just have these topics. So with that being said, what do you gotta say? Because I'm just kind of rambling right now.
I think we're both kind of just rambling right
Yeah.
now. It's like 10:30 at night.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure you already know that wherever you are. And so that's another part of this whole thing. Like we were kind of consistent in our
You were actually.
when we were doing it together.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And before we got married too.
Yeah.
Like if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll see like before we got married, we was having various conversations, especially about where we were at that time. Going through what we was going through individually, and how we was coping with those particular issues, and how we could best support each other in that space. So, and then after we got married, we continued a little bit.
Yeah.
And then obviously for some of you guys that know, we was blessed to have Jacob. So, anyone that has small kids, life gets put on a pause, which we kind of, we're not necessarily pause, but we know, back in the day you have the slow motion button. So we kind of in slow motion, kind of getting back to some of the things that we enjoy doing as a couple. And one of the things we enjoy doing is obviously us just having these conversations, but what we learned is inviting other people in to have these conversations with us as well.
I think inviting other people in builds community, and I also think that you realize like you're not the only person or not the only couple dealing with whatever you're dealing with. My bad, y'all. I was flashing you. I'm sorry. What?
Bruh.
Oh. Listen.
That's what we do. We look out for each other. We was doing that before we got married. And we do it now that we are married. So
it's 10:30 at night. I don't know what you might see. And that's like part of it, like trying to find time.
Yeah.
I think that was a big thing for us. Is just trying to find time to pursue our passions. Right. And for us,
well,
a passion.
Right. So
hey, Troy.
We got about 25, 27 minutes before we get out of here. Well, I mean, you just brought up something very interesting.
Troy said, hey.
Hey, man.
And speaking of which, y'all can say hi
and
interject and say whatever.
So for the next 27 minutes, let's talk about something you just brought up.
What's that?
And chasing time.
Chasing time.
Yeah. So let's kind of
Hey,
dive into that a
Lori.
little bit. And again, you guys are welcome to chime in. You guys are welcome to add to the conversation. We want to, read the text that comes in. And but we just going to take like the next 20 minutes, just talk about time. Like you just mentioned,
Hey,
us kind
Shalita.
of get back into.
I don't know who Bump 2247 is, but hey, what's up?
They look like Rollins. Maybe.
Is it Rollins?
I think so.
Hey, guys.
So yeah, chasing time.
Chasing time.
So I guess just thinking about chasing time, like
Yes,
what do that look like chasing time? So it's more about, I guess it's not less about chasing time, but how to get as many things possible within time.
Yeah.
So chasing time looks like how to optimize the 24 hours that you have.
Yeah. And if you guys want to chime in on that, feel free to do so. How
that's
are you how do you optimize your time? Like, so this is a brand new thing for me. I'm not used to having to share my time with anybody. My time is my time.
Right.
And so now we have Sir Jacob with us, and my time is not my time. My time is his time, and it's dominated by him. And so trying to figure out how to best utilize the time that we do have, a full day, how to best utilize a day has been kind of hard. You already know this has been really hard for me, like trying to figure out so the problem was I was trying to do it the way I always did it, and not allow space for a newborn. You could do that. You figure that out. And so I had to accept a new reality.
Right.
And that took a minute for me, because it's been over a year.
Right.
And I think I'm probably just getting into a kind of rhythm. Everyone kept saying like rhythm. Yeah.
So when you say the word rhythm, I apologize if I'm cutting you off. So when you say rhythm, what do you mean by rhythm? Right? Because when you say rhythm, that can be speaking about multiple things. Like, can we narrow that down? I mean, I have some thoughts behind or some suggestions as far as optimizing your time, but obviously, it seems for you to be out of the ordinary, obviously, as you said, and finding that rhythm. So let's kind of like, what do you mean by following your rhythm?
So
or finding your rhythm, excuse me.
I think so. Nate brings up one point. He said, when they sleep, you sleep. Part of that is just, what's it called, your circadian rhythm? I think it is your sleep patterns. When they sleep, you sleep. That sounds good in theory. But I can't sleep during the day. I have to be like drop dead tired to sleep during the day. And so I had to find out how to reset even that like internal clock, something as small as how I sleep. I still don't really sleep during the day, but taking advantage of being still.
Right.
Like I don't have to be doing something.
Right.
I can just be still, and then finding that what that looks like. So when I think about my rhythm, like it was just like, I would get up, I would do this, I would do that, and I had this pace I would work at all day. And I would know when to jump to the next thing. Right. And that jump to the next thing was completely interrupted by a crying baby or by the fact that he needed to be fed or taken outside or something, you know what I mean? Just to go for a walk, he needed a change in atmosphere. And so because he needed that, like I couldn't just switch to the next thing. Because also prior to, I had like 3 jobs. You know what I mean? I was like working.
Right. So let me push back because
Pushback?
You said the word can't, right? So, and that's a word that I don't necessarily
I know.
subscribe to. So I would, when you say rhythm, and then you kind of explain what that rhythm looked like. So what I heard was schedule, right? And what I do know is that you would have a schedule written down somewhere. So it's not about rhythm; it's about having a schedule and adjusting your schedule.
I have one now. I didn't then.
Yeah, you did. I can prove it because you would have on the wall, I'm going to pray at this time. This is before Jacob.
Okay. All right.
Right? Now, I'm not saying that you follow that every single day.
That's all I'm saying. Okay, go ahead.
But also at the same time, there was reminders of what you need to get done. Right? So I'm wrong for saying schedule?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So I'm just saying, when you said I can't sleep at night, sleep during the day, I had to push back on that because before Jacob, you had a schedule of how you did things. So you've done things for so long. So obviously it will be challenging to do things that's out of your unnatural pattern. So you will actually have to commit to changing your pattern and doing things that you normally wouldn't do. If that means just laying down and teaching your body how to lay down, retraining your body that it's okay to take a nap throughout the day, the question is, were you committed to that, or you just said, this is what I don't do, so I'm not going to do it?
Oh, no, I tried.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking.
Oh, yeah. No, I tried. I tried desperately to go to sleep because there were some days that's all I wanted was to go to sleep.
So how did coffee play into that? I'm just asking because you're a coffee drinker.
I am, but I'm a decaffeinated coffee drinker.
All right. Well, I'm just saying, it's still caffeine in it.
You can go get the bag.
It's still caffeine and decaf. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You're saying it like there's no caffeine in it. I'm just saying.
It's decaffeinated, and so it's not
what
as
Troy
much.
Said.
Troy said, "Be intentional." Right. Thank you, Troy.
Thank you. What? That's my wife. It's like, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Exactly. Thank you. I'll put it up. Look, for those of you on Instagram, Troy gave James in a straight face. Like, really, dude?
Oh, look.
No.
Hey, we're talking about chasing time, right? Yeah, so when the emphasis is obviously we can't stop time or we can't pause time, and quite honestly, we can't chase time. We only can chase what we can do in that time.
That's true.
Right? So with that being said, just getting back to the conversation.
Repost what Troy said. Troy said, be 100% be intentional, be real, yet consider the significant other's perspective, background, and weaknesses. I think that's a major point before we go any further. Like even in pursuing time and adjusting and changing things, like understanding your partner's we are very different in terms of sleep patterns. Like James can sleep with everything on TV,
and lights. I don't need a lot of sleep either.
Yeah,
worth all that. I 4 hours of sleep, I can probably go for a good 48 hours.
And I cannot, I can't function. And we had this whole meltdown one night. It was just like, yo, I'm not mad at you. I just want to go to sleep. And I can't sleep because the TV on, the light on, everything is on and I can't sleep.
Right.
And I ain't been sleeping 3 days.
And we actually went through a little spell where it made me mad because for a couple of years, I've been chasing my education. So when I get an opportunity to watch any bit of any significance of TV, is obviously when we're about to go to bed. And we don't have a television in our room. Matter of fact, I think we only have one functional television in our house.
We don't.
But we have iPads, right? So let me finish. Hold on. So I use an iPad. So obviously I'm exhausted. So the iPad be going on. So that's what she's talking about. It's not that we actually have a television.
Hulu, which is TV. He put Hulu on the iPad, which means TV is on the iPad.
Right.
iPad
they get that. I just said that. Relax. Take it easy. Woosah.
But I think that's to Troy's point. you had to take into
Yes,
consideration
absolutely,
the fact that
absolutely.
I needed lights out.
Yeah, and
Like,
she didn't care that, I was unable to watch football or basketball or baseball.
no,
Every now and then, a little bit of soccer down, dabbed in
no,
there.
no,
So she don't really care. So
nope.
the only time I can get it is, actually watch Sports Center or catch a late game is at night when we're about to go to bed. So she don't really care. So like for the last couple of years, somebody would engage with me about football. I'd be like, okay.
I don't know.
Talk about basketball. Okay. I mean, so
It's not that bad though. You watch a couple of games Sundays.
yeah, that's what one eye open. I'm, I'm dead tired. But anywho, yeah, but I think considering that the schedule has changed, would you say that I have been supportive and understanding
Oh
that
my gosh, I
as
think.
far as being helpful, doing some of the things that men typically don't do?
Oh
Would you
yeah,
say? Would you
oh
say?
yeah.
So I mean, and the reason why I pointed out, not to kind of stroke my back, but kind of talk about in the frame, stroke my ego, just talk about in the framework of time, like optimizing the time. So like when I get home from work, the first thing I do obviously is greet everyone and then start picking up. Like that's something she don't have to necessarily worry about throughout the day. Like she does, but I don't want her to have to chase Jacob around, do work, cook, and still have to clean up. Because he's right now he's walking, he's one. So every room he's little a miniature tornado. So he goes in there and turns everything. And he's not like a little baby. He's kind of
It's
tall,
tall,
so he can
so
reach
he
a
can
lot of
reach
things.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's weird because
yeah.
I mean he was just so little, just very recently,
Mhm.
and then he just shot up, and so he can like reach. Um, we're at a kitchen counter now. He can reach the kitchen counter. Lori, we saw your comment. We're gonna talk about that in a second. He can reach. James is plugging in my phone. We're losing power because it's 10 o'clock at night. Anyway, sorry. Um, and so yeah, James definitely puts forth the effort to come home um, to look out for your girl, because that's one thing. Like I can't chase him, clean the house, cook. Well, I can. And I know James doesn't like the word "can." I can, but it would make it a whole lot harder to try to stay on top of all of that.
So it's not
That's
necessarily
not
about the work, but
charging.
just talking about the labor part.
What
I
you mean?
mean, not the labor part. Forgive me. Time. So what did that by me
And I want to make sure we
being
talk
able to
about
support you
what
in various ways?
Lori brought
Oh,
up.
okay.
It's good.
What
It's a
did
good point.
What does that time look like? How did that help you as far as time throughout the day?
Oh, I don't think about when he tears up a room. I don't think about it. It frees me up mentally. It's charging now, and that mental freedom I think means almost more to me than anything else. Like I don't need to worry about that.
Right.
That one thing is good. It's straight, and I'm okay with it.
So in other words, friends, your partner may need you to sacrifice a little bit of your time when you come home from work or whatever it is you're doing to help give them some of the time that they may have lost doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of consider that.
And if you can pour into someone like that, like they may not be your partner, it could be a friend, could be someone that you can see they may be struggling. If you can pour into them in that way, to be like, I'm gonna stop by, I'm gonna help you out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna look out for you in this way. Let me know how I can support you.
Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful gift.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful gift.
Oh.
Shalita, what you laughing at? Because I'm laughing at all of it. What part are you laughing at? But I want to talk about Lori's point, because I know it's something that I've experienced too. She said the older I get, it seems like time is slipping away. It's a weird feeling.
Is time really slipping away the older you get? Or is it that
I think you're more conscious of the value of time.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that statement.
Yeah.
But But also, could it be we're just so busy that time seems to be moving at a faster pace because
That could be it too.
our mental and physical space is driven by this, that, or the other. So, we in the climate now where, mental health is, a hot topic conversation. And I think what Lori was saying about time slipping away, I believe rather, part of mental health is making time for yourself. Whether it's getting up in the morning meditating, or get up in the morning to have a cup of coffee, some tea, some toast, just by yourself. And are you willing to sacrifice that time? Because you may have to get up 5, 4, 3, 6 a.m. in the morning to optimize that time, or late in the evening, a glass of wine, have communion, by yourself, have communion by yourself, watch, your favorite show, you know what I mean? Just having that time, because, and I would agree with Lori too, because I kind of felt that way for a portion of time. And what I decided to do is just be present in every moment. So even if time does find its way in my feeling that it's slipping away, I can hold on to those memories in that time. So even though it may seem like time is slipping away, I'm optimizing that time.
And that's what I think she also brings enough point. Like, I agree, it's so much to do and not enough time. And so I had to take a real assessment, especially after Jacob came, about what's vital and what's not. Yeah, exactly.
Seems like everything's a priority. Yeah,
because everything is not a priority.
Right.
And so I had to tell myself the truth about that, because to me, everything is important all of the time. And I fight to make sure that things get done at a certain time, a certain way. Well, I did. I don't anymore.
That's true.
But I was, very, very, very conscious of things having to happen at a certain time in a certain way, because to me, everything I was doing was a priority.
Right.
And so I had to, after Jacob, really sit with that, like, what actually is a priority? What actually does need to happen right now? And what can I let go of? And I think that makes being present even more possible,
right?
Because you're not so bogged down with so many variables.
Right.
There may be a few variables here and a few variables there, but you're not so bogged down with so many that you can't be present. A lot of times we're not present in the moment because we're thinking about what we need to do next, what has to happen, the way it has to happen. We're pre-planning, trying to get ahead of the game. And so I with Jacob, I really had to say, okay, what is an actual priority?
But I would not necessarily agree with everything you said, but I do understand, because you kind of, okay, the way I heard it was, as far as on my schedule, everything is not a priority, right? I believe to optimize your time, a schedule is helpful, right? And then within that schedule, you can say what is a priority and what not a priority, because what a schedule allows you to do is to optimize your time, but also if you allow the schedule to do what it's supposed to do, it allows you to be present in that moment, because you don't have to think about what's next. Next is there's a list or a schedule of what comes next. So I know right now this is what I should be doing. So let me be present here, and I already know I have a list, so I'll get there later. So I believe that having a schedule is helpful to optimize your time, but also it will show you or reveal to you, to allow yourself to start questioning, going back to what you said, what is a priority? What's not a priority? And what can I do to offset some of these things that's not a priority? Like something that you do now that at the beginning I ain't particularly care for is ordering groceries. Like, I'm like, yo, we spending money, we paying somebody to go to groceries. Like, You got a car? Like, come on, like what we doing here? But when you did it and we had a conversation about it, like you didn't say it, but this is the way I heard it.
Mm.
It was more about time. It's
Mhm.
about, yeah, buying groceries and eating is a priority, but not necessarily going to get it. And we know convenience costs.
Mhm.
So to me, it was more important that you had the time to rest, had time to, lay Jacob down and you rest or get work done. That yes, we had to pay a little extra $10 or whatever the case may be for groceries to get delivered or be able to go there and get them picked up. That was a cost that I became to understand, like that was a necessary thing to optimize your day, to one less thing you have to worry about. So to me, that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. Optimize your timing and ask yourself what is a priority, and if it's something that's not necessarily a priority, but it is necessary, how can you utilize the things that's around you to help get those things done as well?
So Troy brings up that
Mhm.
he's dealing with organic beings, and it's not necessarily a system because
Right,
these are human beings,
right.
and you can put a system in place,
Hmm.
but because again they're human
Hmm.
beings, they can mess that system
Right,
completely up.
right.
And that was part of what I had to adjust to
Hmm.
with Jacob,
Hmm.
is that like the schedule, right? I had
Hmm.
it. I just took it down. It was over there. I had it posted on the wall.
Hmm.
Like he would get up at this time, and I would feed him at this time, and I'd put him back down at this time. And that kid was like, "Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not doing that." And so I also had to ask myself if that was important.
Hmm.
Is it important enough to pluck my hair out because the baby won't function by my system?
Hmm.
Or is it more important that I figure out his natural rhythm and let him and I adjust? And I
Uh,
know, but listen, when I stopped fighting him, I had peace because your son, and I emphasize, your son is stubborn.
yes,
Mm,
but the Bible says, "Train up a child,
okay, but right now he's
not
training
raise a
me.
child." So look, I'm just saying that's what it says. So,
Well, listen, I think that there's uh,
mhm.
how can I say this? There's a fine line.
Be flexible.
Yeah,
So a little
there's
flexibility
a
and
fine line
yeah.
because I just yeah, no, I'm not gonna keep fighting him.
Okay.
And having Aunt Nettie with us on Tuesdays and Wednesdays has been phenomenal
Hmm.
because again, he found his own rhythm. And
Hmm.
he found that place where like around 11, 12 o'clock, he knocks himself out.
Hmm.
Um, thanks be unto God.
Hmm.
And so, but before then, like if I was trying to put him to sleep at 11, 12 o'clock, it's an enormous fight.
Hmm. Hmm.
I, instead of fighting him, let him figure this thing. He figured it out.
I
And
wouldn't go
I'm
that
like,
far, but okay.
listen,
Anywho,
the boys
I
sleep
think
at
we I think
11.
we get the gist of what you're saying. No, I'm serious.
I
Like
think,
I understand. I'm not going to push back on it because I'm not here every single day with Jacob for 8, sometimes 10, 11, 12 hours while I'm at work. So you won't get no pushback from me on that. That's all.
that part.
That's all I'm saying.
That is a point that you are making.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
TD Jake said, "No, ma."
All
I was
right.
just saying what he said.
Okay.
If your man,
Okay.
if your man at home, no mind, no mind. Anyway, that's what he said. If I'm home all day, that's a problem. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Anyhow, let's
He's
go to the next
bringing
thing.
up a different thing we're
All right.
chasing, right?
Jason Tower. I'm
We're
just joking.
chasing peace.
Nah,
That's a different thing.
not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Troy
Well,
said
I'm always chasing peace. That goes without
Troy
saying.
said light bulb. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
Lori said, I believe the true reason I feel this way is because I've been on my own since 17
Hmm.
and I've had to do everything on my own.
Hmm.
Um, So now it's hard to sit still. Now I have to literally leave my environment in order to be able to reset. And I again feel you was there, not there anymore.
Right.
Um,
What do you think
m- m-
about?
I think we all have driving forces,
Right.
right? Mine is perfection.
Right.
Yours was, well, you tell me, Lori, what was your driving force? Was it having to prove?
Now survival.
Was it survival,
Yes.
or was it having to prove that you could survive?
Both. It's the same thing.
You tell us, Lori, which one was it?
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Okay.
And it's hard to break out of that survival
It's
mode.
hard to break out of that
right?
survival mode.
So
yeah.
you feel like, and this is why I say survival. And I trust me, I do not like to make assumptions.
Yeah, you put
But
words
based
in
upon what
sometimes.
she said, you know, as I hermeneutize this, right? Just
Exegeted.
no, because this is not about the gospel. But anyway, and the reason why I said that the reason why I came to that conclusion, because she said she has to leave her environment to reset. So what that means to me, reading that, is what she's saying is I need to get away from where I'm at, so it won't remind me of what I have to contend with.
Mm.
You know, it regardless of if everything is perfect, I still got to think about the next thing, because I don't know, based upon my experience, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I'm always in a survival mode. So in order for me to not to think like that and feel like that, I have to remove myself from that environment, which I believe is healthy. But also, I would ask you to do something Latonya have asked me to do. Take a moment and celebrate the wins that you do have. Right? So when you have an opportunity to take an assessment from all the things you overcame and all the things that you have done up to this point, and you allow yourself to celebrate yourself, believe it or not, that allows you to escape your environment. That allows you to escape the thought of what's next. It allows you to give you a little of peace. Allows you kind of come down a little bit, take a deep breath, and enjoy your moment. Right? What we talked about, the moment, like enjoy that moment.
James Jacob said hi.
What's up, brother? I saw your post, so I'm gonna call you in a couple of days, man.
Oh.
But
I
would definitely suggest that, because I think let me say this, and I don't want to go on no spiritual rant. If you can't find peace in the environment that you're in, then I would suggest that you take a look at what decision that you're making, right? Because we create our own environment, right? Based upon our practices, our habits, our perspective on things. And if we have to escape every single time to reset or to have peace, I don't want to say that is a bad thing, but what I will say is that shouldn't be a natural way of how you habitat or cohabitat, if you would, a partner, because you should be able to have peace and should be able to reset in your own environment. So I'm definitely for vacations, because it's absolutely necessary to get away, all of that good stuff. But also, we going back to what we talked about earlier, we should make home a priority of peace, a priority of being able to escape. You know, if you live by yourself, again, what we talked about earlier, getting up a little bit earlier, staying up a little bit late to do something to kind of take your mind away. Like you play that little game on your phone. Like when I notice she's playing that game, I won't say nothing to her. I'll kind of leave her alone, and me and Jacob do what we do, but I really kind of just allow her to kind of escape.
Listen,
right? And it's and that's what I mean. Like some of the little things, right? So some of the little things that we don't realize is a way of an escape, but this is what we do. Well, no, I mean, this is I come from that tribe.
So
I come from that tribe.
Jacob is upstairs asleep. So I'm trying to get James to be like, listen. I know you're excited.
I come from that tribe,
right.
The loud tribe. So that's. I'm not trying to tell her what to do. It's just my suggestion. It's just something that I've discovered that oftentimes we put things in place to have a particular culture or particular habitat, but we don't really consider what we want that to look like. We just want to make sure that it functions.
So I'm a harass James for a second.
Okay.
But first, Daddy, my father said he
Hey,
loves
Dad.
us.
Love you guys.
We love you too.
What James say?
James said he puts everybody out when he needs some peace. But so I'm gonna challenge you a little bit, James. Why everybody there? And so I mean, and that's like part of the. And I'm not asking you to answer that. Please don't answer that. I don't want you to answer that.
He had a place right now. Trust me.
Just joking with you because it's you. No, but sincerely, I think it goes back to the question that you asked, in terms of the decisions that we make. When we need peace, if we can't come home and find peace, then what decisions are we making about our environment that makes it necessary for us to have these, must have it moments, like where I don't want to call it fits, hissy fits, in order for you to get your peace, in order for you to get. And so I think that you have to sort of challenge those things. And I really did have to challenge my commitments. I had to challenge where I had tied myself unnecessarily, and no. Tied myself.
We have a 3 o'clock wake up call,
right? And try to figure out how to untie those ties. Yeah. My father asked, "Is Jacob sleeping through the night?" No, he sleeps until 3 a.m. And then at 3 a.m. he wakes up. And so this was one of those things that I again stopped fighting. Right. So usually I would get up. Initially, I would get up, go in his room, rock him back to sleep, and then get back in the bed, and he would wake up again maybe 2-3 hours later. I finally read an article that said that sleeping wasn't going to hurt the baby. And listen, I stopped fighting it. Put the baby in the bed. Because he's going back to sleep, which means I'm now going back to sleep. And so I think, what is the actual priority? Is the priority that he sleeps by himself, or is the priority that he sleeps? And I think those small things, it's sometimes it's even in those small things, you have to make a decision about what is really important in that moment, and to adjust based on what's actually important versus what we think is vital. It's so important that the baby sleep by himself. Why? Is he sleep? Okay, well then fine. If he sleep, I don't care where he sleep, as long as he sleep, and as long as I've already had adult time. Right? As long as I've had adult time, then where are you? I don't care where he is. As long as he is asleep. So, I mean, Dad, I know that's not why you were asking that question, but I think it brings up a really good point. It's, why are we so bent on certain things? Why do we get ourselves so bent out of shape about things that aren't really all that important?
It could be sometimes what is connected to, right?
Right.
Maybe it's not the it per se.
He said, because the God in me wants to help. I'm sorry. I understand.
What?
I just said I understand. That's why I didn't want him to answer, because A, it's his house. It ain't none of my business. Right. And B, like I was really just teasing him because it's him and he's an easy target. Right. And I love you. But yeah, no, but I do understand, like, if
that's always been him.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
always been him. To God be the glory that it's always been him.
He saved a lot of lives. I'm 100% sure of it.
Right.
For being the person that he is. So,
I get that. That's why I say amen. Yeah, so I left that at that. Okay, God said it. left that at that. So I'm sorry. I got distracted.
Nothing.
Troy. Dad said Jacob is now learning manipulation. You know what I said?
Yep,
Okay.
he definitely is.
Okay. He's sleep though. So I would be diametrically opposite roommate of James. I flow, I feel, I'm sensitive and passive in my personality, then will go up and run when moved by the Holy Ghost. My wife in pressing life issues. I don't follow a schedule at all because we are not living in the same house. We are best friends. I have nothing to say about that, Troy.
Right?
Nothing at all.
The thing about this is the beauty about life, right? The beauty about life and relationships is they are.
You're saying you and James are best friends because y'all don't live in the same house and you're diametrically different.
Right.
Bruh.
I'm a schedule person.
Very, very much so.
I'm a schedule person. I like to maximize my time. I like to.
I think Troy and I are a lot alike, and you and Karen are a lot alike.
It's because the things that are important to me, I do my best to make them important to me. And some of the things that are important to me slips through the cracks. So I really have to be very purposeful about some of the things that I get done because I can get very narrow-minded and tunnel vision, and what I want to get accomplished, I'm going to get I want to get accomplished. So I really have to kind of tap myself on the shoulder and remind myself, like, hey, don't forget about this, don't forget about that. So that's one of the reasons why I like to have a schedule, and it gives me flexibility too. So
I understand. I get it. She says my true environment. Lori says my true environment is peaceful, but I think a lot. And I feel like because I'm in this environment, in order to shut down these thoughts, I have to leave. This means just maybe stay away for a couple of days. And I'm going to challenge you on that, Lori, because the Bible says, and I say it all the time, the Bible says, let this mind be in you, which means you can take your thoughts captive.
That's right.
And so I had to learn that because I'm a thinker. And I really let myself sometimes get really tripped up in overthinking things. And so I think I had to become aware of my thought life. And once I became aware of my thought life, control it. And some days, because again, I'm a thinker and I deep dive into things, some days it meant literally me going, I plead the blood.
A lot of what ifs in there.
A lot of what
ifs. So let me ask you this.
A lot of what ifs.
So let me ask you
jumping
this.
In here.
How did you discover that allowing yourself to immerse in your thoughts was not necessarily the best practice for you? And it I don't want to use this word, but I'm gonna say it. How did it contaminate being present in your environment?
I asked the question again. How did what? Say it one more time.
All right, I'll ask it a different way.
Okay.
Being a deep thinker, okay, how did you okay, let me say it like this. Being a deep thinker that you are, what are some of the practices or some of the things you put in place not to allow yourself to stay in that rabbit hole for so long, or dig deeper into that rabbit hole where it contaminated your environment?
Okay, so to get out of it, a couple of things. That what if syndrome is real and is dangerous. And so there has to be this conversation that you have with yourself that includes the positive version of what if. So if this works out this way, then all will be well, right? But if it works out that way, then this could go wrong and that could go wrong and that could go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if it works out that way, I could be kept from something that I wasn't ready for.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to start looking for the good
Mm-hmm.
in what I deemed negative.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So that scripture, all things work together for the good of those who love the
Mm-hmm.
Lord and are called according to his purpose.
Mm-hmm.
That it's in the conforming, the next verse. So that's Romans 8, 28.
Mm-hmm.
So verse 29,
Mm-hmm.
that it reveals that the good is conforming you to the likeness of Christ.
Right.
So I started looking for, if it remains the same,
Mm-hmm.
what in me
Mm-hmm.
needs to be conformed.
Right.
And so therefore, whatever needs to be conformed, I'm grateful. There's a gratitude
Mm-hmm.
with regards to it not working out.
Right.
So therefore I can then take on and I'm thankful.
Right.
And so I'm thankful in it. I'm thankful out of it. So
Right.
if it works, great. If it doesn't work, great. Then I also, so that was one level. The next level was this. If it doesn't happen the way I want it to happen, what you gonna do about it? And the vast majority of the stuff, what am I gonna do about it if it didn't work out anyway?
Mm-hmm.
So nothing's gonna change by me worrying about
Mm-hmm.
it.
Is it worrying? Do it becomes worrying because you go down that rabbit
Mm-hmm.
hole, and it's the possibility,
of it going
and with
wrong.
that possibility is you realize there's nothing you can do about it, so you kind of get fearful, and that kind of allows all those other things to kind of creep into it
But
a little bit.
I also had to remind myself, but I belong to my Father.
Right. So that's
Mm-hmm.
the other part that I wanted to kind of ask you about. What is information? Do information you're allowed to see, listen to, plays a part in how you form these perspectives, being in this whole, like being in this I'll just say this blank canvas, because that's typically what it is. Like you have one thought and it takes you to the next thought, takes you to the next thought, to the next thought, but it's really just a blank canvas because nothing has happened.
Right.
So how do information plays a part in you putting a hope to that digging, or when you get to a particular space or a particular thought in that digging, you're like, well, wait a minute, hold up.
Right.
Let me cling on to this. Let me think about this. And also, I know I'm asking a lot within this question, so I hope you don't get lost in my rabbit hole of question.
Right.
How do you combat that? And I'm probably answering my question, but how have you combat those thoughts, right? Because you kind of answered the question, but let me say that, is there more to it than just the small clip you gave us, like you reminding yourself that you belong to the Father? Is there another perspective or another?
But see, that's the big thing,
mm-hmm.
right? Because our image of God is very limited, to the point that we don't see him as actively involved in our day-to-day. And so my image of him as purposefully and intentionally engaged in my day-to-day
Mm-hmm.
changed my inability to move forward. And I really had to practice thinking
Mm-hmm. There we go.
This way.
Right.
Like I had to catch myself
mm-hmm.
when it was in
Bringing
play.
all thoughts to captive. Right.
Catch myself when it was in play. Pull that in
mm-hmm.
and say, but I belong to God. And either that means something or it means nothing.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So either he's fully engaged in every aspect of my life or he's involved in none of it.
Right.
Either he exists or he doesn't.
Right.
Either he's fully God, fully in control, and incapable of making a wrong choice, or he's not God at all.
Mm-hmm. So outside of God,
I don't know what they're outside of God.
Okay, all right.
Because
Well,
for
I'm
me,
just asking, and the only reason why I'm asking
yeah,
because not everyone believe in
I
God the
get that.
way you believe in God, or
And that-
see God the way you see
and
God. So
and
I'm
that's
just asking, I'm asking for those who are at a place where their faith is challenged, or they have they haven't allowed themselves to experience God in this fullness, right? Or that version of God,
mhm,
when it comes to renewing your mind, um, having the helmet of salvation,
mhm.
guarding your mind, regulating your mind. So that's what that I'm just asking. I'm just asking that
So
question because I mean I'm saved and I have no problem speaking within the Bible, around the Bible, outside the Bible. Um, I'm just asking because I mean you're on the roll, so I mean.
I can't with you. Um, I I I don't for again for me
Mm-hmm. Right.
that freed me. Like coming to know him in that way. I did that whole study on um, the whole armor of God.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that study's on Amazon, by the way. But that study
What time is
on
it?
it's late. That
Okay, we can
study
wrap it
on
up because I'm off my schedule. I'm just saying I am.
his
Okay,
schedule.
I
He's
got
gonna work. He's gonna go to sleep for 4 hours and wake up and act like nothing ever happened.
I got a
His
schedule.
schedule.
I got to stay on schedule. Anywho,
Um,
anyway, before we wrap up,
yeah, but that study on the helmet of salvation, um,
you said it's on.
it's on
What
Amazon.
do you mean on Amazon?
The the study is a
The
book.
book.
Mhm.
Okay, because you said it's on Amazon, like you was
I
suggesting
can't
that
think of
you
the
meant to be
name of
like
it.
YouTube rather than Amazon.
I can't think of the
All
name
right,
of
well,
it.
write it down. So when we come back next Monday,
Why I can't think of the name of the
because
book?
it's late.
Is that what it
So
is?
next Monday, jot it down so we can
Okay.
that information because it seems to be a very good conversation piece tonight. All right, so before we wrap up, we're gonna let's see here. About to wrap up because it's late. Let's see here. Uh, Come to me,
All you who are weary and burdened, take my yoke upon me and learn from
me.
me, for I am gentle and humble at heart. I will give you rest.
Amen.
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 That's
So-
our benediction for tonight.
Is it?
Yep. Sure
No,
is.
not really.
What?
We'll use these last 4 minutes.
For real?
Yes.
Okay. Go on.
Do you want to just close out like that? I mean, I was just again. All right, we just use these last 4 minutes. Do you have any other piece of advice that you can add to what you said? Far as
Lori said, I'm crippled by the unknown, and that leads to anxiety. There is one who knows the unknown.
mm-hmm.
And if you are in the hand of the one who knows the unknown,
We having church right now.
then all becomes known. This is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. This is faith.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so you can get past that place, and find that space of rest and peace in knowing that the unknowable, what we can't conceive, what we cannot conceive of, um, what we can't conceive of, God is fully capable of not only conceiving of it, but bending it to our use.
Okay. Amen. So this is what I tell you about the unknown, right?
It's good to me.
If you're a believer,
Mm.
you should be excited about the unknown. And this is why. because he has a plan for you.
Mm.
And it's not to harm you, not to do by you, not for you to lose anything. It's all for your good.
To
So
bring
you ought
you
to
to an expected end.
So you ought I was going to get there,
Oh,
but
my
thank you.
bad.
I was trying to wait to the end to say that. But
Oh.
anywho, you ought to be excited about the unknown. If you're a believer, knowing that he has everything under control and everything under his control is for your good, is for to demonstrate the favor that you have in your life, you should be excited about that. If you believe, if you believe, I'm not talking about the label of Christianity, the label of a Baptist or this or that. I'm talking about those who believe in Christ, those who believe in Jesus Christ. You ought to be excited about it. Because for me, I used to be the same way. And I started getting excited about that unknown. Like, you know what? Regardless of how it looks, regardless of what's happening right now, you mentioned Romans 8:28 earlier. It's going to work out for my good. So I'm going to get excited about it. Why I'm going to be worried or concerned about what if, when I know based upon my faith that all things is possible and all things going to work out. And he's there for me, not to harm me. I mean, what? And I know it's easier said than done, but the done part is what makes it much easier. Not to do it makes it uneasy.
And it's already done. I mean, and that's, we chalk a lot of this stuff up as what church talk, right? But try it and
Wait a
see.
minute, hold up. Wait a minute.
We do.
We're supposed to have this conversation now. We getting into church talk. Okay, it's time to go.
I'm just saying we.
No. And the reason why I'm saying it, because obviously, as I said earlier, what influences how we view life and how we tackle topics is very much going to be influenced by our lifestyle, by our faith, without question. But also, I want to make sure we don't just be speaking in church terms or church jargon per se, right? I mean, it's going to be really difficult to escape that. But also, and I know, but also I want to make sure that we sound very welcoming, right? I just want to make sure we sound very welcoming. That's all. That's why I'm kind of pulling back, right? That's it.
But I guess my point was, I know it can come across as church talk,
right? I don't disagree with. I'm not saying that to disagree with you, and I'm sorry to cut you off.
But if you and that's why scripture is so beautiful, right? Because it says just try it.
Yeah.
Put it into practice. Just try it. This is 21 days to change a habit.
No.
What?
Oh, 21 days to change a habit? Yeah. 21 days to change a habit, 60 days for it to become a habit, and 90 days for it to become a lifestyle.
So give yourself a third of 21 days. Give yourself a week to just try to be present, to be aware of your thinking, to bring your thoughts into captivity. And when I say bring your thoughts into captivity, to be aware that I'm thinking negatively and I need to adjust it, and to purposefully think differently. And then to move on the possibility that it could work out well, versus standing still with fear that it could go wrong.
And be conscious of what you allow in. What you allow in you, like what you see, what you hear,
and we're
what you read,
by so much negativity right now.
Even the conversations that you may have at the water cooler.
Yeah.
All of that plays a part. So anyway, guys, thank you all so much. It was actually just a test run for our podcast. We did not expect to be on this long, but it was great. Thank you guys for engaging. Look and listen out for upcoming questions, schedules, and where the podcast is going to be on all platforms. Sometimes it may be visual. Sometimes it just may be just voiceovers, just having conversation. So, we kind of excited to get back to this.
At night, and sometimes you ain't gonna want to see this.
Yeah. So, yes, I think when we was doing it before it was Thursdays. Was it Thursday nights we was doing it?
I think so.
I think it was Thursday, but we're gonna try to do. The goal is to do Mondays.
That's the goal.
That's the goal right now. We're going again. Time, right?
we chasing
That's
time.
we chasing time. So yeah, look out. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. We look forward to having many more different conversations about anything and everything. Nothing is off limits. Again, we are believers. We are Christians. Our approach is going to be biblical, but I'm probably gonna, for sure, I'm gonna do my best to bring balance to the conversation that, we can kind of push back on religion, jargon, and religion thoughts. Religious. Thank you, my teacher. I'm from Baltimore, and what can I say?
Hey, baby, you got the right one
anyway,
now.
I know, right? So yeah, man, I'm kind of excited about it. Some of the topics that we already have scheduled. So yeah, man, we just gonna get on here and just kind of just talk and find out what you got, what's on your guys' mind, and we're going to just have a good time. Some grown up talk. All right.
Shalita said, I read and study 5 to 6 times a week, and it helps with my thoughts,
Amen.
Feelings, and behavior.
That's important.
It's the most beautiful thing.
It's important. It's important.
Bring that thing under subjection.
That's right. All right. Anything, sweetheart? No.
Y'all see, I got one eye open, one eye closed.
Also, remember the name of the podcast, Chasing More, guys. All right. Thank y'all.
Love
Appreciate
you
y'all so much. Love you.
Good night.
Bye-bye.